If you haven't heard of birria, I don't know where you've been, right? If you haven't tasted it, I don't know what you're waiting for. But anyway, tonight we're gonna be making birria potato casserole. What? Yes, just keep watching and I can guarantee you, you're gonna appreciate this video. First on up is our beef chuck. So I'm gonna cut the meat in chunky size pieces. All right. Get it ready for seasoning. All right, however you decide to cut it, you're not going to be judged on it, simply because once we're done, the meat is going to be shredded anyway, right? We're not going to over season the meat simply because we want to maintain that nice, delicious Mexican authentic flavor. Add whatever your favorite type of oil is, whether it be avocado, vegetable, or even canola oil. Gonna mix up some salt and ground black pepper. And because these are hefty slabs of meat, we're gonna season it really well, adding enough salt and ground black pepper. But keep in mind, we're not gonna over season. Let's mix it on up really good. Make sure the meat is combined with all of the seasonings. I'm gonna add just a little bit more, just to play it safe, because these are really thick pieces of meat. Now here's the thing, during the cooking process, right, you can always taste, and if you need to go back and add, let's say maybe some additional seasonings, you definitely can. Let's get in there with some of Cooking with Tammy's all-purpose seasoning. This is not your slap your mama or whatever type of seasoning. This is a whole different blend of all-purpose seasoning. All right, so if you don't have it, definitely get your hands on it, or you can use whatever your favorite seasoning is. We're gonna put this to the side because in a second we're gonna be browning our meat. In the meantime, let's work on getting our chilies situated. For our birria sauce, we're gonna be using ancho chilies along with pasilla and guajillo peppers. This is actually a poblano pepper, aka ancho pepper. Now it's poblano when it's fresh, but it becomes ancho when it's dried out. And the chalaca peppers is the fresh version of the pasilla pepper. And I know you're probably wondering, so what is the guajillo pepper? The guajillo pepper is the marisol pepper when it's fresh. Yep. So that is like so funny to me, because you would think that it will go by the same name, right? A jalapeno is a jalapeno, whether or not if it's dried, but not in this instance. The names change according to whether or not if they remain fresh or dried. As you can see, right, I went ahead and extracted as much seeds as possible, and I went ahead and took out the dried membrane as well, because we don't want it to be too spicy. What we want is the flavors from the pepper itself, right? We want all of those beautiful rustic flavors, but we don't want a ton of spice. Now, if you want a ton of spice because you got that hot palate, sure, leave those seeds on in there. And I can guarantee you it's gonna light your life up. These are our guajillo peppers. Same thing, we're gonna get in there, we're gonna take the top off and remove all of the seeds, or as much as possible. And the great thing about it is when it's dried, they break so easily. As you can see, I went in there, just used my hands, tore it apart, and that's it. So the next time you go to the store and you see a poblano, you're gonna be like, oh my goodness. You're gonna look at it totally different. You're gonna have a lot more respect for it once it's dried out. You're gonna be like, wait a minute, once it's dried, that's an ancho chili. To a dried pan with no oil, right? We're gonna toast up our chilies because we wanna release all of the aromatics and flavors that's locked into the chilies. And we're just gonna put this to the side because we are gonna also add our onion. I wanna roast the onion as well. All right, we're looking for that delicious, authentic flavor, as I said earlier. We're also gonna roast our garlic bulbs, or garlic cloves, of course. And let's add our bay leaves as well. Let's get everything nice and toasty. You're gonna know when to remove it from the pan once you start to smell the aroma of each individual thing that you added to the pan, obviously. If you start to smell the garlic, you can flip it on over and remove it from the pan once you're done. Bay leaf is starting to get a little char, which is perfect. We're gonna go ahead and remove the bay leaf as well and just set it to the side. Here, look at the onion. Ooh, that's gorgeous. And our garlic and everything else is roasting on up. This part right here, my loves, doesn't take any time whatsoever because I've only been cooking this so far for about a minute and a half, to be honest. And I'm gonna go ahead and remove our peppers, of course. Get all of the chilies out of the pan. Alrighty. To a separate plate, I'm gonna add the onions and the garlic, of course. I'm gonna allow it to sit out for just a second. And then let's add some oil because we're about to get another party started. Once the oil comes up to temperature, let's take that time to add our meat. And we're gonna sear the meat, of course. And that's gonna help us to not only get a nice caramelized color towards the end of the cooking process, but it's also gonna help to lock in the flavor as well. I'm gonna allow the meat to cook for about 5 minutes per side. And when I tell you I'm gonna brown this meat, I'm gonna brown all sides of the meat. We're gonna bring some hydration back into our peppers. So let's add some hot water. All right, we're gonna allow it to sit out for about 10 minutes. Our meat is finished browning. Check out these nice chocolatey coated pieces of ground beef. Not ground beef, I just got through finished making ground beef, but chuck roast. Now here's the thing, my loves. I went ahead and seared the meat off in this pan, which is kind of what I didn't want to do. I wanted to sear it in the Dutch oven, but I don't know, I think I forgot. But nevertheless, here's the thing. There's no way we're gonna lose out on all of this beautiful flavor that's locked into this pan. So with that being said, of course, we're gonna add some water. Of course, you gotta allow the pan to cool down because oil was in the pan. If not, you're gonna have a splashy mess. Gonna turn it back on. I'm gonna allow the water in the pan to pretty much loosen all of the flavors that's at the bottom of the pan. I'm gonna give that time to do what it do, maybe about 5 minutes or less. All right, our pan is pretty much nice and smooth, so that means all of our flavors have been lifted from the bottom of the pan, hence the fact. Check out the water. To our blender, we are gonna place our hydrated chilies into the blender. If some of the water gets into the blender, that's totally okay. All of the flavor is within the water anyway, so why not? All right, let's make sure we got everything out. A couple more pieces. Gonna add some of that broth as well. Push that on down, and let's add our roasted onions. Check out the beautification. Let's add our tomatoes. We also have our roasted garlic, and I think bay leaf is in the mix. Come on down, bay leaf. Let's go. Your time to shine. Let's add some seasonings. We're gonna add some cinnamon powder along with ground cumin, Mexican style oregano. If you have regular oregano, you could definitely use regular or Dominican oregano. Also add some apple cider vinegar. And let's add our beef broth. If you don't have beef broth on hand, get some water and add some bouillon to the mix. And that would definitely work out perfectly fine as well. All right, we're gonna place our beef into the pot. I'm gonna be using my Dutch oven for this recipe, simply because it holds a lot of heat, and it's also gonna help with the cooking process. It's gonna help it to cook a lot faster. As promised, we're gonna add all of our reserve flavors. All right, we're gonna add our Birria mixture. Make sure all of the meat is submerged. During the cooking process, of course, if you need to add more flavors or seasonings according to your preference, you definitely can do that. We're gonna cook our beef for about 2.5 to 3 hours, or until it's, I can't say falling off the bone tender, simply because it's boneless. But nevertheless, you're gonna cook it until the meat is extremely tender, to the point when you pick it up, it literally breaks apart. Anyway, my loves, I see you in about 2.5 to 3 hours. We have about 20 minutes left on the beef. And in the meanwhile, you know what? It's gonna take us about 20 minutes to roast our potatoes. So now will be the perfect time to get this done. All right, as you can see, we have our potatoes perfectly cubed, Psych, I'm lying. They're not perfectly cubed, but they are cubed around the same size, simply because we want all of our potatoes to cook at the same rate, right? You don't want to have that coarse potato and the other potato is nice and moist. You need the potatoes to match when it comes down to the texture. All right, let's hit our potatoes with some oil, whatever your favorite choice of oil. We're gonna add some salt and ground black pepper, of course. Let's get some flavor going. Just gonna add all of it. It was perfectly measured out, so why not? Let's add some garlic powder for a nice little garlicky flavor, of course. Let's add some chicken bouillon for that extra enhanced flavor, along with smoked paprika. The smoked paprika is gonna give it that nice element of smoky flavor, not to mention it's gonna pair perfectly with the birria as well, and it's gonna give it that nice color. Let's add some Cooking with Tammy all-purpose seasoning. This is not Slap Your Mama or any type of all-purpose seasoning that you're accustomed to. This is way better. We're gonna get in there, we're gonna combine the seasonings with the potatoes, of course. Just in case you're wondering, these are yellow potatoes. It smells amazing, guys, I'm telling you. No need to add any oil to the casserole dish. Just our potatoes. Let's get every ounce of flavor. Gonna shake it around just like that. Make sure everything is perfectly situated throughout the casserole dish. And into our 400-degree Fahrenheit oven for about 20 minutes, or until the potatoes are fork tender and nice and golden and crispy on the outside. Guys, after about 3 hours, this is what we have. Our birria style beef is finished. All right, I'm gonna, you know what? We're gonna shred it down in a minute. Let's take our tongs and place it right here. Ooh, this meat is saucy. All right, just check it out. Look at how easy it is to shred. This is exactly what I'm talking about. All right, if your meat doesn't shred like this, you got a problem, all right? Now here's the thing, I'm gonna go ahead and shred all the other chunks of meat off camera. And once we are finished, I'm gonna show you how to put this beautiful casserole together. This is gorgeous. Check out the color. Woo! The color is so rich. Not to mention, I know it's gonna be rich in flavor as well. We're gonna bring in our perfectly roasted potatoes. All right. And for the moment of truth, all right, let's take our birria and add it to the top. Ooh wee. Even if some of the meat is still, you know, chunky, let's say you didn't get to shred all of the pieces, that's okay. Whoever gets that serving is gonna be a lucky person. Nice chunky bits of meat with delicious, perfectly seasoned roast potatoes. Who could ask for anything more, right? So we could go ahead and add some Oaxaca cheese to this because we are making a casserole. However, since I don't have any Oaxaca cheese, you can definitely use some quesadilla, creamy, melty style cheese as well. But nevertheless, we're gonna go in with a Mexican blend of cheeses, maybe some pepper jack, or you know what, some Monterey Jack and a little cheddar. But it's gonna be a Mexican blend of cheeses for this recipe. But like I said, use whatever your favorite blend of cheese is. If it's a one type cheese, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be a blend. As long as you know that it's gonna taste good, it's all that matters. If you don't want to add any cheese, you don't have to. You can stop here and just serve your birria up with potatoes. But like I said, I'm going to go ahead and add just a small bit of cheese. I'm not going to add too much because it's not about the cheese. It's actually about the birria and the potatoes and how, you know, how delicious it's going to taste. This time we're going to lower the temp to about 350. And we're gonna allow the cheese to melt, of course. And once the cheese is nice and bubbly, we're gonna go ahead and remove it from the oven. Look at all of those beautiful, gnarly bits of meat. You have the melted cheese, and we're gonna go in with some cilantro. However, if you don't like cilantro, my loves, all you have to do is Find anything green, okay? If it's parsley, add the parsley. But you just want something to bring out that nice element of color. Ooh, look at all this. Would you look at this? Wow, that's gorgeous. Let's add some lime juice. I know it's potatoes, but nevertheless, add the lime juice. Trust me on this. It's gonna be really, really good. Not to mention lime pairs perfectly with cilantro. There's a party going on in my mouth. When I tell you absolutely delicious. Whoa, who would think that birria would pair so perfectly with roasted potatoes? This is superb. Okay? Wow, this is good. And like I said, I kind of hesitated when it came to adding the cheese, but add the cheese. Add the cheese. This is good. Oh yeah. Cooking is all about trying different things, right? Pairing different foods and infusing and creating fusions and so on and so forth. Definitely give this recipe a try. It's, oh my goodness, you are gonna thank me. Trust me when I tell you. Now here's the thing. This recipe did take some time to put together, about 3.5 to 4 hours, to be honest with you. However, I have the quick version on Quick Bites with Tammy. If you're not familiarized with that channel, look down towards the bottom of the video. I'm gonna leave the link. Go on over, subscribe to that channel, because I'm gonna show you how to not only simplify this recipe, but make this same recipe in 30 minutes or less. As always, don't forget Cooking with Tammy seasonings at cookingwithtammy.shop. Definitely grab up your seasonings. I will definitely catch you in another video. Talk to you later. Bye guys.